So, folks, do you guys remember, like, I don't know, a couple of days ago when we covered the fact that Tesla Cybertrucks are 17 times more likely to explode and engulf you in flames compared to a Ford Pinto, a car famous for exploding and engulfing people in flames? Do you guys remember that? Yeah? Yeah? Well, you guys also remember the various manufacturing issues, like, for example, the fact that the brakes would fail because the brake pedal was held on by glue. Do you guys remember that? You guys remember how there was a problem with Tesla Cybertrucks where the brake pedal just came off sometimes while people were driving? Well, what if I told you that wasn't the only part of the car held on by glue? What if I told you guys that, in fact, it kind of seems like the body of the car might be held together with glue? So, yeah. Some Cybertruck owners say their trucks are shedding body panels. One thinks he knows why. A Tesla owner who wraps the vehicles for a living has come up with a hypothesis as to why his truck lost a piece of its bodywork at speed. Which, yeah. You can actually see it come off the car. See that, guys? You see that? Yeah, it's driving down the highway, and a piece of metal rips off the top. And, as one would wonder why. What makes that happen? Well, here is a guy who thinks he understands.
So there
why.
is a huge issue going around right now where these pieces on the Cybertrucks are literally just completely falling off. And I've had a lot of people tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and you wrapped it and you forgot to put the bolt back in, or you forgot to put the nut back on, or you didn't put the adhesive on right. So I wanted to make a video showing you guys what exactly is going on. And it's not just these trims either. I've seen it with a ton of other trim on the Cybertruck because a lot of the stainless steel panels are glued on. Some panels have welds, some panels are just glue.
No, Hammock. Some of them are the aesthetic trim. Others are the full-on goddamn panels on the truck.
I think the reason why this one is having the most issues is because it's the smallest panel that is only glued on. Now, what is my immediate guess to what's causing this? I'm thinking it's something to do with the very cold air. I've only seen this happen to trucks in the northern states where it's been like below zero. So I am working on a Cybertruck right now.
Which would make sense, considering they didn't release any of the safety data or safety testing required for other vehicles when it came to the Cybertruck. It's insane!
Tesla stuff is a road hazard, between falling apart, exploding or the self-driving function crashing. Tesla products need to be banned.
Unironically, Von Tux, unironically, absolutely. Like, I entered into this with some skepticism as to, like, oh, well, maybe maybe people are just being hysterical about it. But, like, no, like, it's actually, like, falling apart on the road. Like, that could, a metal panel or even a metal piece of trim falling off at speed could kill somebody. Like they burst into flames with people inside. The auto driving feature that purports to be autopilot will kill you. It can't detect things or people sometimes. And it doesn't surprise me that with all of the glaring oversight related especially to the Cybertruck in particular, that it wouldn't be a stretch to me that they never bothered to test it in sub-zero conditions because Elon Musk wanted to get it out the door faster. That's my presumption here is that in particular the Cybertruck is a conjuration of Elon Musk's in particular, and he wanted it to get from concept to product as fast as possible. And in order to do that, they skipped a lot of the traditional safety settings. The ketamine noises intensify. Oh gosh. Hard to believe the protests of Tesla is not because of safety hazards, but because Musk is a major prick. Well, let's be clear. It's not even because he's a major prick, because a lot of rich people are colossal assholes. People are protesting Elon Musk and Tesla in particular because Elon Musk is a Nazi. Like, he's a genuine dyed-in-the-wool goddamn Nazi. And I don't use that phrase lightly, but at a certain point, someone can only seek Heil so many times. You know? Like, someone can only do IVF with several dozen women in order to produce only white male children in order to do a eugenics so many times before I gotta call a spade, you know? Like, dude's a Nazi, and we need to, like, make sure we say that. The same way people should have been rightly pointing out that Henry Ford was a goddamn Nazi. For whatever reason, we really gloss over that in history books when we go through school, when we teach it to children. But Henry Ford, the guy who is lavished praise upon in our school system in the United States, was a goddamn Nazi with a newspaper dedicated to white nationalism. Yeah, killed by Magikarp. He had a newspaper called I believe the Dearborn Independent. It was the second most circulated newspaper in the country. And it was a goddamn white supremacist neo-Nazi rag. Not even neo-Nazi, just Nazi rag. Charles Lindbergh as well. American Nazi. I believe Lindbergh and Ford were recognized by Hitler. It's not even like oh man, maybe they weren't. No, like, absolutely. Yeah, Dearborn, as in Dearborn, Michigan, where Ford made its plants. Well, it was originally called the Ford International Weekly. So, yep. Henry Ford was the guy who circulated and publicized the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, the anti-Semitic hoax that the Nazis really loved. Yeah, oh yeah, Hammock, absolutely. Henry Ford had correspondence with Hitler. They were buddies. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think we shouldn't maybe repeat Henry Ford again. I think this time we should probably do our best to try and kill these car companies that are run by literal Nazis. Anyway, I think that honestly, protests should continue until Tesla ousts Elon Musk. At a certain point, their investor board is going to get sick of him and jettison him via their mechanisms. And yet, even Ford managed to put out a good car. True. Oh, God. But, dear God.
Now I'm wrapping this in satin black, and this is like a brand new Cybertruck, okay? This one's brand new, and this is how it should look on this panel here. It should look perfectly flush. It should be tight like this. And I don't know if you guys can see there, but there's actually a nut there that's screwed on that is holding this in. Now, I've seen a lot of people online say that, well, you didn't put that nut on good enough and you took this whole panel off. And, you know, that's a valid point. However, what people are not realizing...
Well, Super Jet Guy, at a certain point, investors get angry enough that they can oust members of the board of a public company, and Tesla is a public company.
Is this piece, this right here is right there. And what you're noticing, if you're looking at this, there is no welded spot for that stud, okay? So,
you know, maybe something you could avoid if you had a unionized workplace with workers who care about the product's safety. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
So this piece, ow, that was loud. This whole piece right here, okay? There's no weld point on it at all. I'm gonna go outside and show you guys my truck so you guys can get a better understanding. All right, so here is the panel. Here's the side where it came off of mine. So as you can see, here's the glue, and that's the glue that failed. So it's still sticking to this piece. This is the piece that has the stud. So the stud is actually right there. It's not right here. The stud, and if we can take a look at this side, which is now also loose, as you can see, look at this. It's just loose.
Jesus Christ.
You can see there is the stud right there. It's not attached to this.
You know what's crazy? The Tesla Cybertruck has been out for like what? A year? A year and a half? Maybe? And they're just falling apart constantly, right? I have had my Subaru Forester. I have had my Subaru Forester for like 6 years, 8 years, somewhere in there. But it's a 2006 Subaru Forester, and it has had zero problems with things just randomly falling off. You know, it's crazy. I live in sub-zero conditions and very hot conditions. And wowee, you know what's great about my car? Bits don't fall off of it and endanger people driving behind me. It's crazy. I feel like if I have a mechanic half awake, that thing will probably drive for another 25 years. You know, it's crazy.
This is glued onto this, which then this is what has the stud. Because you can actually see right in there. Let's see if I can get this. Super hard to see, but right in there is I still have the nut right.
Unions care about car safety since when? Unions care about the products they make. It reflects on the union.
Right there, that's holding this down. The nut holds this down, not this part here. And so I hope that clears it up and shows you guys and proves that this whole part here is purely glued on from factory, and that's why it's having issues coming off. And then you're probably wondering, okay, where else could there be issues, right? What other panels are glued? Well, as far as I know, the doors have welds everywhere. The fenders, I haven't seen any issues with those. The top of the frunk is welded. This is all glued on, but I haven't seen any issues whatsoever with that. The only area...
I just have to say, like... Maybe having stainless steel panels that can fly off if the glue fails is really bad. Maybe you shouldn't have that. Also, why did my face cam disappear? I don't understand. There we go. We fixed it.
That I've seen issues as well is the quarter panel and the bed, or the tailgate. I actually had a brand new customer Cybertruck came in.
Wait, I'm not trying to pick a fight, but this Tesla SpaceX hate is all political? No, it's not. Number one, SpaceX is shit. SpaceX does with 100 times the budget of NASA, 1/10 of what NASA does. NASA is one of the most efficient organizations in the US government, and even then it's being cannibalized so that Elon Musk can rake in hundreds of billions of dollars doing, again, what NASA could have done for a fraction of the price. Number two, Tesla Cybertruck is shit, and it's unsafe. It's literally exploded and burned people to death because they haven't tested it enough. Okay? And number three, I think that, yeah, it's okay to hate things for political reasons. Like, for example, I think it's okay to hate Nazi Germany. I think it's okay to do that. I think it's okay to hate the people who did the Holocaust. I think that's fine. That's politically motivated hate that I think is A-okay. And likewise, I think it's A-okay to hate people who go out on the national stage and do the salute of the Nazis who perpetrated the Holocaust. I think it's okay to do that. And like, honestly, if you're like, well, what's the big deal? So the guy who ran the company just did a Hitler salute. What's the big deal? Fuck you. That's
NASA
at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Technology less advanced than a 70s desktop PC.
Literally. And you're like, well, what? You hate the car company run by Nazis? Yes. 1,000 times. Easiest decision of my life. Like, seriously, you call yourself a fucking American and you stan a guy who wants to have like a race of super children from his genes in order to rule the world? Are you fucking sick? What's wrong with you? Like, I'll hate a company run by a fucking Nazi. And you know what? Any self-respecting American would do the same. Any self-respecting American would do everything in their power to oppose a Nazi in any circumstance and situation. The same way we did everything in our power to oppose a king that would rule us, I think we should do even more to oppose a Nazi who would rule us. And if you are over there being like, "Whoa, what's the big ideal? I just want to give a would-be Nazi king, $100,000 for a Cybertruck. What's the big deal?" Fuck you. It's not complicated. No Nazis, no kings, and no collaborators.
And I'm going to put the clip up on the screen right now, but one of his quarter panels was just loose. I touched it and it was like, whoa, it was just loose. All the glue over here on his truck was not glued at all whatsoever. Brand new truck, just delivered. I think his was a 50,000 VIN. And
man, all this hate against the Cybertruck, though, it's just purely political. Yeah, ignore the fact that this brand new goddamn truck that just got delivered has a loose panel that's held on by glue. The fuck?
SpaceX outperforms NASA in efficiency through cost reduction and reusable rockets, like Falcon 9 and Starship. SpaceX has cut launch costs significantly. Falcon 9 costs $67 per launch, compared to NASA's $450.
I beg you, Ryan. I beg you. Okay? To understand a couple of things. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. Where did SpaceX get the money to do that? Ellen Showerman, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate it. Cause like, here's the thing, right? You might be like, oh, well, don't you know? Don't you know that they're doing all of this space rocketry at a more efficient clip. Wait, who cares where the money came from? It came from NASA, you dipshit! NASA gave them the money to build that technology that they used, they used that money in conjunction with technology that NASA invented. Everything that SpaceX does is predicated on what NASA has done. And in fact, if NASA had just done what SpaceX does, instead of, what actually happened, which was a rich billionaire approached the US government, bought political favors, and now reaps billions of dollars in profit every year off of our dime. Where do you think SpaceX gets their profits? It's from our taxes. We pay for their profits. Okay? And what we could have done instead was just not had a private company do it and have NASA do the same thing for way less money. SpaceX doesn't do it cheaper, you absolute clown. What part of this don't you understand? Oh my God. It's really crazy. It's absolutely wild. And yet again, I'm going to reiterate, even if it were more efficient than NASA, I'm going to throw one thing out there. I don't give a shit because it's run by a goddamn Nazi.
It's also important to remember that the main reason NASA goes so slow is that, unlike Musk, they can't get away with scattering debris over hundreds of miles of Texas countryside.
Yeah, it's almost like the reason NASA operates slowly is so that they can ensure safety for people in the launch areas. It's almost like the reason they operate more slowly is so that they can, ensure the safety of people on their manned flights. It's almost like, I don't know, these tech billionaires don't give a shit and will happily throw you into an explosive shuttle for no reason. Ugh. It's crazy. And also, just throwing out there. Who invented the reusable rocket technology that SpaceX uses? Hey, Ryan, do you know who invented the reusable rocket technology that SpaceX uses right now? It was fucking NASA! They invented it in 1968! Jesus Christ! You're like, oh, well, SpaceX does it more. No, they don't do it more efficiently. They did the thing that NASA did, and they used venture capital money and our taxpayer dollars to do it at scale in a way that NASA hasn't had the funding to do. So, the thing you are going and saying, oh, SpaceX is just more efficient, it's not. It's run at a profit. NASA, if given a budget comparable to what SpaceX has, could do 10 times what SpaceX currently does with the technology that they invented. It's not even a debate, really. When you look at the financials of SpaceX, they literally rack up billions of dollars in profit. That's billions of dollars that could go to the US state through NASA. Ryan, the people who invented the technology and set it up to be used in this way were NASA. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? That you're saying, well, look, SpaceX did this thing. They took a thing that already existed and did nothing special with it except invest venture capital money into it to do it at scale. The only thing special about what SpaceX does is that it has more money than what NASA has. Do you understand? And the other reason they're able to do it faster and more efficiently is because they put you and everyone you love in danger by doing it. Think, Ryan, think! I don't know. Do you think that,
Did panels
I feel like I'm
follow the
wasting my
DeLorean?
time. And I
That guy
probably
was
am.
on cocaine, but his panels stayed on. I'm about 8 minutes behind, so sorry if this is poorly timed.
It's okay, Logan Hill. You're giving me time to catch my breath. But look, all I'm going to say here is that everything that SpaceX does, NASA could do for cheaper if it had a proportional budget. And the only thing that SpaceX is doing that is special is that they're doing it at scale. They don't have smarter scientists. They don't have better technology. They are literally taking the technology that we, the American taxpayers, invented and are now privatizing it to siphon away our taxpayer wealth at a markup. Something that we could be doing for cheaper through NASA. And like, you can argue all you want that like, well, it's more efficient now. And it's like, yeah, because of the billions of dollars of venture capital that got poured in. And now they're they're, you know, racking up $3 billion in profit every year.
NASA and DARPA literally created the technologies that our modern world is built on.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, but Ryan, here's the thing. We don't have that Nazi around today to punch in the face. We do have a current Nazi around right now. So you can be like, well, you know who founded NASA? NASA, a former Nazi. A lot of other people founded NASA too, asshole. Wasn't just one guy. But I'm going to throw this out there. There is one guy currently alive who you are supporting, who is a Nazi. And you don't seem to have any thoughts about that other than you're going to defend him no matter what. So Ryan, I guess I'm just going to ask you straight up, are you the kind of guy who, if Hitler made the trains run on time, would have signed up for the SS? Are you that kind of guy, Ryan?
The reason I also hate that South African Nazi is how he killed the rail and CA. His Hyperloop is his idea too.
Yeah, of course. He doesn't give a shit. But Ryan, how much Nazi dick are you willing to suck? You know, like, are you willing to join the SS if Hitler makes the trains run on time? What's your line here? Do you walk into a bar and see a bunch of swastikas hanging around and you go, well, you know, they serve the kind of alcohol I like here, so I'm just gonna sit down. What's your deal? Where's your line? You know, these are just hard-working white folk. Might as well make myself comfy. After all, they're not gonna be mean to me. I'm one of the good ones. So I guess that's my question here. It's a good question, I think. You just ramble on about how wonderful NASA is, but it's headed and founded by Wernher von Braun. Be consistent in your argument. Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing, Ryan. Wernher von Braun has been dead for like 50 fucking years and is a moldering corpse, exactly where every other Nazi in the world should be right at this moment. So I guess my question to you is, which side are you on? I have already achieved the ideal outcome for Wernher von Braun. I already live in the ideal world where he is dead and worm food. So Henry Ford has been dead too. That's good, Ryan. What about the currently alive Nazis, Ryan? Can you answer my question about the Nazi bar, Ryan? You walk into a Nazi bar and see a bunch of swastikas. Do you sit down because they got the kind of whiskey you like, Ryan? You know, maybe that bartender is just extra efficient at getting you that whiskey, Ryan, you know, because you're white. And, you know, anyone else who comes in is going to get it much less efficiently than you. You just really like the efficiency of service at the Nazi bar. I just want a straight up answer, Jack. Hey, Ryan, let me make this real simple for you. If the next thing you post in my chat is not a very clear and consistent answer to my question, you're going to get banned. So I don't have all night to play with you. And you're very slow in way more ways than one. So just answer my goddamn question. In the 1960s, I would have been against Operation Paperclip. Yeah. I would have been against saving goddamn Nazi scum. Are you trying to imply that in the 1960s you would have been in favor of the America harboring Nazi scum? But answer my goddamn Nazi bar question, Ryan. Okay, I like that answer. Yeah, I'm goddamn consistent. I'm gonna give you one more chance to answer this. You walk into a Nazi bar. Do you sit down for efficient service at the Nazi bar, Ryan? Because the thing I'm trying to suss out with you, Ryan, is exactly where your line is when it comes to goddamn Nazis. Oh, you don't sit down at the Nazi bar for the efficient service, but it's so efficient, Ryan! The service is so efficient! Why would you not sit down at the Nazi bar, Ryan? Why would you not patronize such an efficient establishment? Ryan? Hell, if you come in wearing the right kind of armband, Ryan, I hear they give you a 15% discount. Why wouldn't you patronize an establishment like that, Ryan?
At the very least, the paperclip scum had actual science to contribute to humanity. What does Elon have? Tax theft?
Elon Musk contributes exactly nothing to humanity. Wild stuff. Oh, you disagree with the premise that Elon Musk is a Nazi? You understand how stupid that is, right? You understand how stupid that is, right? I'm sorry. Ryan, do that at your place of work. Do it at your place of work, Ryan. Once that's definitive. Ryan, what does someone have to do in your eyes to be a Nazi? Just out of curiosity, what is your criteria before you're like, yeah, that guy's a Nazi? Do they have to grow like the Hitler stash before like Sieg Heiling is like the thing you think? That of the like before you're like, oh yeah, that's actually, oh yeah, now I see it. What does someone have to do to be a Nazi? Is it promote eugenics? Is it promote white nationalism? Is it promoting fascist ideology? Is it like supporting political parties that embrace the flag of Nazism? Like, dog, the boys from Inglourious Bastards would absolutely consider you a collaborator, my guy. Like, oh man, I don't know if this guy who's doing a Nazi salute, I don't know. I just can't figure it out. You know? Just can't figure it out. Talking fondler of Hitler and Nazi ideology would be my red line. But why doesn't Musk just admit it if he did a salute? Ryan, have you ever interacted with an online Nazi before? Because I have. I've interacted with people who coyly call into my show calling themselves moderate conservatives. And then I talk to them for like an hour.
He's living the 4chan memes. Fuentes says that to Nazi. Nick Fuentes says au revoir for the public.
Yeah. I've talked with Nazis, because I've been around on the internet for a long time. I've been on 4chan. I've been on all the places that they like to hang out. I've covered a lot of topics that touch on Nazism in the past. And I can tell you, Elon Musk believes everything that these guys believe. I have had Nazis call into my show. I have been threatened by white nationalists. I've talked with them. They talk about how they are moderate conservatives who are just saying what everyone's thinking. And then you talk to them for like an hour and they talk about how Francisco Franco was actually a pretty cool dude who, he was actually really good. The thing that didn't work out was that, he wanted to give it back to the monarchs instead of keeping it fascist. And then you press them about Hitler and they're like, oh, actually, Hitler was pretty great. Most Nazis do not come out and say, I'm a Nazi. They try and make their views as palatable as possible. So they keep a level of plausible deniability until suddenly it's not a joke anymore. It's all just jokes till suddenly it's not. That's it. That's it. Yeah, Holocaust deniers also don't call themselves Nazis. They call themselves, just a guy who's asking questions. And honestly, if you are the kind of sap who can't see through that, you're exactly the kind of rube that Nazis mark out and try to convert to their cause. It's exactly why you're here in my chat running defense for a guy who gets up and does Hitler salutes. It's why you're here trying to argue about the efficiency of SpaceX and dodging questions about the politics of the guy we've been talking about. And instead you're like, well, I don't see evidence that he's a Nazi. He's not like loving Hitler or anything. Well, he seems to retweet a lot of guys who do love Hitler. He seems to amplify and hang out with a lot of guys who do talk about how great Hitler was and how really Hitler just wanted the best for the German people, except, the Jewish German people. He hangs out and amplifies them to millions of people and has built an entire ecosystem on his social media website to make them louder. There's a reason why folks like Nick Fuentes, one of possibly the most famous neo-Nazis in America, or Richard Spencer, one of the most famous neo-Nazis in America, don't go out and say, hell yeah, I'm a Nazi. But then, the second they're among all of their Nazi friends, after a forward-facing event, they start quoting Mein Kampf and doing Hitler salutes. It's because the entire thing is an act. It's a ruse, and it's one that you have been indicated as a target for. They are going after you and men like you, because it's always men that they're going after. And the worst part about it, Ryan, is that you have fallen for it. You are already circling the drain of what they have set up to, funnel you into their pipeline. And if you don't do something about it, you're going to wake up in like 2 to 5 years and realize, oh shit, I'm a Nazi. And that's maybe a best case scenario. Where you actually realize at some point that you've been had. But most of these guys just kind of hang out with other Nazis and just view themselves as a normal guy who just, is asking questions. It's wild, Ryan. Why did he do a salute if he wants to keep it coy? Because he's a fucking moron. That's why. We have an entire segment dedicated to this later, but this is not a smart man. He shouted as he did this, I am become meme. This is not a guy who's smart. I don't know.
And I think we don't have too many, but
here he is abandoning his child on stage.
What's that old saying about 6 people at a table with 1 Nazi? Asking for a friend.
Indeed, very knifey duck.
When I watched this rocket come down about 3 months ago, you're leaving your little boy. And I think
he literally just abandoned his 4-year-old on stage on a rickety staircase. This is not a man who cares about shit or people. All right? The reason he does a Nazi salute in front of a goddamn audience is because he knows that for a little over $250 million, he just bought their loyalty, and he does it because he can get away with it. And he thinks that that's cool because he cares more about the adulation of his Nazi fanboys than he does about anything else in this world. That's why he does it. because then he can go online and watch a bunch of people talk about how cool he was for subtly, signaling to all of the Nazi guys that it's okay to do Nazi shit, which is exactly why at CPAC, you now have 2 additional guys doing Nazi salutes. This is Elon Musk at the bottom doing his Nazi salute. These 2 guys at CPAC just this past week doing Nazi salutes. That's Steve Bannon, one of the most racist motherfuckers in the world. His favorite book is Camp of the Saints, a book about a bunch of brown people coming to Europe, and the book frames that as apocalyptic. Okay? Like, this guy on top, is a Mexican actor. Yeah, we got 2 more Nazi salutes at CPAC. Because the entire point of Elon Musk doing this was because 1, he could get away with it, but 2, he wanted to normalize it. And now all these conservative influencers, including people who are not on the stage at CPAC, are doing this goddamn salute. It's not rocket science, Ryan. And at this point, I hope it's clear that I'm using Ryan as a stand-in for a lot of other people who get suckered in by this shit. By the idea that, like, oh, well, SpaceX and Tesla are just so much more efficient because of some kind of genius idea. There's no efficiency happening here other than production at scale. Something that literally any sufficiently funded organization could do. All right? Don't be a fucking Ryan, chat. All right? Don't be a fucking Ryan. You wind up looking like this guy with his pants up to his knees. Like, what the hell, JD? What's wrong with you? Did you just get done fucking a couch and now you're just all disheveled? Who tailored you? Rumpelstiltskin? Like, genuine question here, bud. The fuck is wrong with you? Don't be a fucking Ryan. Like, Jesus Christ, look at this.
Very good. This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
Yeah, definitely a very smart man right there. You know how all the smart people you look at and who go, oh, this is the chainsaw for bureaucracy, while being blitzed out of their mind on ketamine. Yeah.
That's perfect. All right.
Real?
I love it. Mr. President, thank you so much.
The reason it's real, by the way, is because the man who just presented him with a chainsaw is the president of Argentina. Guys, all right? Just real quick, I need to dig this up for you guys. All right? Yeah, the guy who presented him with that chainsaw literally cosplays as an ANCAP superhero.
Esa es nuestra regla fiscal. Y si los ingresos no aguantarán más, iremos al Banco Central. Y eso será inflacionario, y eso será inflacionario. Si no le aflojan al gato, entonces la crisis vendrá. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo! ¡Un aplauso grande para Javier!
That's the president of Argentina, everybody. That's his whole thing. All right? Cool stuff. And not only that, Let's see if I can find this real quick. There's another one that's even better.
Sorry chat for some bad news. The asteroid with a low percentage of hitting Earth by 2032 has dropped to nearly 0%.
Damn it. Ah, here we go. Found it. You guys aren't going to believe this one. This is a real thing.
El Banco Central está haciendo de las suyas de nuevo. Creo que es hora de cerrarlo. De una buena vez.
This is an actual goddamn campaign ad for him.
¡Destrucción! 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 ¡Basta inflación!
Anyway, yeah. This is not like an elite team of people with like, good plans or, I don't know, good ideas or people who care about things. That guy's main campaign promise was destroying the state. He went to campaign rallies with a chainsaw in order to demonstrate how he was going to slash spending of the Argentinian government. And you know what? He did. And do you think that made anything better there? No, it didn't make the government more efficient. It just made people more homeless. Because that's the kind of shit they do. And now he is bringing the chainsaw to Elon Musk. That's the significance of this. Dude sucks. And you know what? Dude also stands for dictatorship. These people all portray themselves as libertarians, conservative libertarians. They want a free market of ideas, but they also want to destroy the free market because they are fascists. Because the idea that any of them were libertarian is just a lie. You can actually go and listen to the philosophers, and I use that term, loosely, that they all listen to. People like Balaji Srinivasan. He is a fascist. He has written a fascist screed called The Network Nation. And you want to know something? It's fascist as fuck. We've covered it. We've gone over it on this show. And you know what? There are other folks. There are other people who talk about like the I forget what it's called. Not dark MAGA. It's like dark enlightenment, something like that. There's a very similar to Balaji Srinivasan. And all of these tech billionaires, Elon Musk included, come from that school of thought because it flatters their thinking. Yanis Varoufakis, former monetary head of Greece, describes this as a form of technofudalism. And he's right. Curtis Yarvin, thank you, Amber Blackwell. That's exactly who I was trying to think of. But Yanis Varoufakis describes this as technofeudalism or cloud fascism. And it is what these people are. So when someone comes in here and tries to bullshit you that I don't believe that Elon Musk is a Nazi, then why the fuck is his entire ideology predicated on the things that fascists openly write about? Why the fuck is every person who surrounds him similarly aligned? And then you combine that with the fact that he's constantly memeing about Nazism. He is constantly throwing things like Sieg Heils or references to eugenics into anything he says or does. It paints a picture that is pretty indisputable. He's a Nazi. And anyone who's trying to sell you on something else is just either one of the biggest idiots you've ever met, or is being deeply dishonest and trying to trick you. There's not really any in between there. Those are the only two possibilities. If someone's trying to bullshit you, yep, J.D. Vance comes from the school of Curtis Yarvin. Balaji Srinivasan has his grip in a lot of like the other tech billionaires. Yeah, there's a reason why in his cute little scene where he threw the Nazi salute twice, Elon Musk talks in broad terms, essentially saying the 14 words of white supremacy. There's a reason why 1488 is used in reference to Nazis. There's a reason. The 14 is referencing the 14 words, which is the go-to slogan of white nationalists about securing a future for white children. So anyone coming in here and trying to bullshit you that these people are not fascists, while there are literally multiple people on stage at this year's CPAC throwing Nazi salutes, they are just lying to you, and they are not people you should trust around yourself, your friends, your family, and especially not your goddamn kids. Because if there's one thing Nazis and Nazi collaborators like, it's kid diddling, and you should keep them safe. Okay? People, that's a good thing to point out, Banana Brains. People who are not Nazis will instantly and vehemently deny any allegations about them being Nazis. Actual Nazis will just calmly respond that they aren't a Nazi. Yep. And I'm just gonna play this clip. Just a very smart, efficient man over here.
If you got to protect the First Amendment, it's not much more important than that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of criticism, and people said, "Well, that proves he's a huge idiot from he voted for whatever $44 billion, and now it's worth like 8 cents." And
it's not worth 8 cents.
It was essentially to buy freedom of expression.
Definitely a very smart man right there. Didn't Matt Gaetz say 16-year-olds are the most fertile? You're going to have to be way more specific, because a lot of conservatives have said things like that, including someone else named Matt called Matt Walsh. Also, just worth pointing out, someone so dedicated to efficiency should really maybe take a look at the fact that Kristi Noem has apparently let loose that Trump has directed her personally to launch a taxpayer-funded ad campaign dedicated to thanking Donald Trump. And it's going to cost $200 million. If I was someone in charge of finding waste, fraud, and abuse in the US government and making it as efficient as possible, maybe spending $500 million on an ad campaign to stroke the ego of the president is probably not one of those things. But, again, so many people cannot escape the idea that Elon Musk is like this goddamn genius. So many people are like, well, maybe he's not a genius, but his companies, surely they're genius. They're not. Their big things is just production at scale. That's all Tesla has ever been. That's it. And there's something to be said about pushing a market in a given direction, but you know what? Any company could have done that. It is not special. There's no secret sauce to what Elon Musk has done or Tesla has done or anything like that. It's just mass production, something all companies have been doing in America
GOP
for a while.
town halls have called out the Doge BS.
Absolutely, Andrew S., and we'll get there. Don't you worry. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I do appreciate that.
I just wanted to throw out some material for anyone wanting to troll Elon. He's JP in the movie Grandma's Boy. An awkward genius who's really just a selfish jerk that steals the ideas of others.
Media Breakdown, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. I have never seen Grandma's Boy, so that reference goes over my head. Now, additionally, you know, historically, folks, do people who aren't tyrannical assholes declare war on Boston? Is that something that tyrannical assholes usually do? Yeah? Yeah? Well, apropos of nothing, completely unrelated, here is Tom Homan.
I read a story last night, the police commissioner of Boston. You said you doubled down on not helping the law enforcement officers of ICE.
Dude, I just want to, again, our enemies are so far cooked, they can barely get out sentences. Like, dude genuinely just, like, starts going...
It's hard to separate wealth and success from intelligence/skill/talent in the minds of victims of capitalism.
Exactly, prop games. Exactly. Before we continue this clip. That's exactly why, especially in a lot of my videos recently, I've been going on and on and on about the fact that these people are not Tony fucking Stark. They're not geniuses. They're not Mr. Fantastic. They are not these guys who are going to build Iron Man suits and build us moon bases. These are just guys who happen to get rich. That's it. We have had guys throughout all of history who happen to get rich, who are full of terrible ideas. And we just have an incredible crop of rich dudes with terrible ideas recently. Okay? And there's a big difference between winning a lottery and being smart. And a lot of people don't understand the difference in America because, frankly, there's been a lot of propaganda shoved down a lot of people's throats to see, like, having a lot of money as a sign of being really, really smart. And that's just never been the case. Plenty of... I'm gonna throw this out there. The smartest people to ever exist, generally speaking, tend to wind up dying either middle class or poor as shit. That's just kind of how it goes. Because generally speaking, your Einsteins, your the guy I'm thinking of, invented the theory of gravity. Jesus. My brain. Stephen Hawking. Yeah, that'll be one. Not even who I'm thinking of. Oppenheimer. Newton. Goddamn Newton. Jesus Christ. My brain sometimes, guys, just... One of the things my brain does, it just takes information that I generally don't need to pull on and just, like, puts it on a back shelf in my brain, and then I just can't find it when I need it sometimes. Yes, inventor of the Fig Newton, exactly. That's why he died penniless. But the entire thing is just like rich assholes buy media to make them seem smart, whereas people who are actually smart just quietly work away at their smart people things, on their papers, their treaties, their experimentation, you know? That's what smart people tend to do. They tend to have their special interests, and they toil away at those special interests until they die. And meanwhile, rich people tend to care about the perception of being seen as smart. And so they buy ad campaigns, they buy projects to make them seem smart. It's why historically a lot of rich people housed and paid for actual smart people and scientists. It was to increase their own prestige by proximity, to be able to seem smart and worldly and educated by, supporting the arts, by supporting the sciences. That's why they did it. It was part of the propaganda. Okay? But historically, guys, do tyrants do well in Boston? I can't remember.
I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me.
Do you know how cooked that audience has to be? Where they're hooting and hollering for a guy to declare war on Boston? Dog, you're gonna get your asses kicked. Historically, Boston does not take kindly to kings and tyrants. I think I remember something about some guys in red coats at one point. Yeah, I don't know. Guys in red coats and telling a king to fuck off. I'm not a historian. But if Elon Musk isn't the fascist, it's really weird that he, shares a stage with people who, are fascists. That's weird to me.
I'm sorry to interrupt again. I wanted to bring up the indoctrination of working hard when I was in school. The heroic folklore hero John Henry beat the steam-powered machine there to take his job. He also died. True.
John Henry is cool as fuck, though. I will say, I'm a John Henry stan. I think we can maybe adapt that folkloric story to make it better, but yeah. I think the might of workers will always prevail. That being said, Elon Musk isn't a fascist, despite the Sig Heiling, despite the fact that he's inspired a series of it, despite the fact that what he's doing right now is indisputably fascist, trying to elevate the president of the United States above the Supreme Court, above Congress. But the people around him are really saying some fashy things.
Donald Trump is not violating the Constitution. Donald Trump is restoring the American Constitution. Donald Trump is...
we need a side-by-side here of this guy and Hitler justifying his rise to dictator,
is the living embodiment of the American Constitution. Donald Trump is embodying the values of our...
How could he be above the Constitution? He is the Word made flesh.
Founding fathers for the first time in a long time in Washington, D.C. President Trump...
Is that Jack Posobiec? Yep.
Came up and he found the destiny of the American people lying in the gutter. And he picked it up with his bare hands and he yelled, "Fight, fight, fight!" And the American people...
Which I believe is a reference to what he said prior to January 6th. American destiny was brought back to life on January 6th by him totally not inciting a riot. But anyway, guys, he totally didn't do coordinate an attack on the Capitol. But anyway, this moment was when, he resurrected the spirit of America. You can't have it both ways, Jack.
Delivered their mandate to him and put it on his head. And as President Trump himself said just a few days ago, a man who saves his nation violates no law.
Yeah, all these people definitely not fascists, and yet they're saying the most fascist things we've heard since 1945. You know, like, if they're not fascists, why are they literally quoting and cheering on ideas that put the president above any kind of law?
That is the way forward in America. Donald Trump is not violating the Constitution. Donald Trump is restoring the American Constitution. Donald Trump is the living embodiment of the American Constitution. Donald Trump is embodying the values of our founding fathers for the first time in a long time in Washington, D.C. President Trump.
Is it it's also a reference to when Donald Trump was shot? Yeah. Yeah, you know, one man's destruction of the Constitution and shitting all over it, I guess, is another man's wearing it. It's a real Elden Ring dung eater situation. Anyway, it's time for us to do a little Bible study here, folks. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Anyway, just a little Bible study sesh. A few things. What the fuck is that? This? It's just a golden goat idol made out of Donald Trump $100 bills erected in Mar-a-Lago. And this is just literally a golden Donald Trump life-size statue that was at CPAC last year. Or maybe it was 2 years ago? I don't remember. But, yeah. Anyway, images and Bible quote, totally unrelated, I'm sure. Totally unrelated, I'm sure. Yeah, it looks pretty, if I was a God-fearing individual, I would say that maybe that seems a little bit like what Moses saw when he came down from the mountain, and caused him to throw down one of the tablets. Just throwing that out there. And, look, just one last thing about CPAC.
Collected tariffs.
One last thing. Donald Trump spoke at CPAC, after a bunch of Nazis saluted all over it. And, wouldn't you know it, he had some dumb shit to say, too. I found the crown in the gutter and I picked it up. He's referencing Napoleon. Oh, I didn't pick that up. Well, Media Breakdown, thank you for pointing that out. Great. Yeah.
Word tariff is my favorite word in the dictionary. We were the richest relatively think of this, from 1870 to 1913. That was our richest because we collected tariffs from foreign countries.
That's not why America was wealthy during that time period. America's wealthy during that time period because of industrialization. That's why America was wealthy during that time. And, I just have to throw it out there. America wound up doing what in 1914? I can't seem to remember.
That came in and took our jobs and took our money, took our everything, but they charged tariffs. And
yeah, it definitely had nothing to do with World War I, the Great Depression, World War II.
We had so much money, they set up the 1887. Think of that, a long time ago. 1887 Tariff Commission. It was a commission of very important people to determine where we should spend all of the tremendous, vast wealth that we had. We had so much wealth. Wouldn't it be nice today? Of course, now we give it away to...
Whoa, Pluvius. Wait, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? On average, America was wealthy, but most Americans weren't. Why, in order for that to be true, money would have to be highly concentrated in an elite group of people. I don't know, maybe we can call that elite group robber barons or something, because of their tendency to rob everyone else of their money. I don't know, just a thought I had. I'm not someone who's studied history, though, or anything.
Transgender this, transgender that. Everybody gets a transgender operation. It's just wonderful. We give it away.
We do? Hooray! We all get a transgender operation. You get a transgender. You get a transgender. You get a transgender. We all get a transgender operation. Things that historically everyone gets for free. Everyone. And, aren't horrendously expensive for individuals to get. Almost prohibitively expensive for individuals to get. Yeah. They're just giving out like Tic Tacs.
To crazy things, but in those days, it was different. It was a different world. It was a different country, but we were very rich because of tariffs. Word tariff is my...
Everything's so dumb. We live in such a dumb time. And that's by design, by the way. Like, fascism, and I've talked about this at length. You can especially go and check out the video I did on fascism on the YouTube channel. But, fascism is by design dumb. It's by design an anti-intellectual ideology. It is designed to reject empirical reality and replace it with a fiction, replace it with, an imagined reality. And the advantage of that imagined reality is that it does not have to be backed up by facts, because anytime a fact becomes inconvenient, the imagined reality can shift around that fact or explain it away by connecting that inconvenience with a marginalized group that is pushed aside by society, and in the imagined reality of the fascist is, thus, the imaginary fiction is maintained. So, it has its uses for fascist ideologues, right? But understand fundamentally that what we're dealing with here are people who are dumb as shit. And that works to our advantage. It is very, very scary when they have as much power as they have, but also understand that they have not amassed enough power to effectively win the game yet. Okay? There's a reason why currently there are schisms erupting across the Republican Party. There's a reason why Republicans are currently freaked out to the extent that they're going to try tomorrow to rush through the House budget proposal. And we're going to see if that passes. Apparently, it's an all-hands-on-deck situation for the Democrats tomorrow, so we'll see if they manage to pull enough support away from the budget resolution. I know Bernie Sanders is currently barnstorming across the country in Republican swing districts in order to bring out people, in order to amass pressure against vulnerable Republicans. Okay? They're like Bernie Sanders, one of the few politicians, and God bless him, we need 100 more like him. Because he's one of the very few Democrats who actually, well, I guess he's technically an independent, I believe, but dude's actually viewing and analyzing this situation correctly and getting out there and doing shit. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, same thing, actually getting out there and doing shit. But the issue here is that the people we need are Republicans. We need Republicans to show up and pressure, or people who at the very least live in these Republican swing districts. And we need to make sure they aren't able to consolidate this power. It's possible that tomorrow we could stop the attempted cut of Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. It's also possible we lose. But either way, if we win, that will mean we have mobilized a critical mass of people and are going to continue mobilizing as we go forward to increase pressure, because that pressure is not going to go back down after these budget votes. Too many people are aware of how fucked everything is right now. Okay? With all of the federal firings going on. And if it does go through, if these cuts do happen, I think we're going to see maybe one of the biggest backlashes in American history. Because, like, guys, right now, you guys have heard me talk about the cool zone. We've been in the cool zone for the last couple weeks, and we're still in it. If they manage to pass a budget, because keep in mind, I think we're like 12 days away from a government shutdown. And it could be that Dems are able to successfully shut down the government. You know? But if Republicans hold to this and are the ones who drive this into a shutdown scenario, or even worse, succeed, people are going to start flipping out. People rely on the government functioning. People rely on their
Indivisible
checks.
had 120 members join a meeting in my district to discuss strategy. I couldn't attend because of my aunt's service.
Well, Andrew S., that's wonderful news, because Indivisible's also been doing a rural caucus in order to mobilize a lot of rural voters in order to increase pressure on Republicans in particular. And I think that there is an excellent chance that stands to succeed in particularly unexpected ways. Some of the videos we've been seeing coming out about this mounting Republican pressure on Republican politicians is kind of insane. You know, we're getting videos out of districts that went to Trump by 40 points, where their elected officials in the Senate or the House are getting chewed out by their constituents. And they don't know what to do. Okay? They don't know what to do. And it's part of why things are getting real weird in Washington in the past 24 hours in particular. But I've rambled here. All I'm trying to say here is that Elon Musk is a fascist. He is a Nazi. Let me put it this way. At the very least, Elon Musk is a fascist. But I believe he is a Nazi. And I also believe that Donald Trump is a fascist. Okay? I believe that a lot of these people in the US government under the Republican banner are fascist. It is the purpose of Project 2025 to bring about a fascist dictator. That is what the Unitarian executive theory is. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. Put a president above law, above Congress, in order to reign supreme. That's why they're all joking right now about a Donald Trump third term. And what I'm trying to say here, to wrap all of this up, is that there is mounting pushback against this, because not everyone in America is a Ryan. Not everyone in America is so easily duped by these fascist fucks. Not everyone in America is asleep at the wheel, barreling down towards a cliff. Some of us are goddamn awake, and we're going to try and do something about it. It is not enough anymore for us to sit idly by, know what is happening, and then just go and vote in 2 years. We don't have that luxury. We have to look at where we're at and what we can do. And then we need to act. We need to have a plan of action, each one of us. No one's going to be able to hand you that plan. Okay? But you need to think of one. You need to figure out what you can do, because each one of us needs to be doing something. Because if each one of us is doing something, that will be enough to stop what is happening from getting worse. And so what I'm going to ask you all to do, if you are looking for your plan, you're looking for what you can do, all right? I'm going to give you a couple of ideas, all right? Number one is you can make your calls to your elected officials, all right? We have a group called 5calls.org, which will enable you to hook up with contact info for your elected representatives in Congress. Call them. Call them every day, each day, about a new topic that will maximize the impact of your calls. If you can, visit their offices. And also consider writing them emails. That is one thing you can do. Another thing you can do, folks, is you can join Indivisible. All right? There are Indivisible protests erupting all across the nation in every corner of the country. Okay? Go to mobilize.us/indivisible. And you can find a protest near you, or you can make your own protest for other people to attend. So go. It's time to stop thinking about it. It's time to actually go. All right? What can we say to them? I have joined Indivisible. One thing you can say to them is that, also 5 Calls provides you, here, I'll just throw it up on screen, provides you with different topics you can talk about, okay? Gives you different topics. You can click on them. It'll give you like a rough script of what you can say, etc. Okay? Another thing you can do is you can either attend or create a Tesla takedown protest. These are happening all across the country at basically every Tesla dealership. You can mobilize and join or create a protest to protest Tesla, to protest Elon Musk's involvement in Tesla. Now, you might think that this might not be a particularly useful strategy, okay? But I'm just going to throw this out there, all right? Elon Musk has approximately a quarter of his wealth invested in Tesla. $100 billion. Tanking that stock through protest or getting him ousted from Tesla would severely impact his personal finances. And I think that any attack on his finances is good for all of us. Because one of the reasons he is particularly dangerous right now is because of his wealth. Okay? Consider doing that. So let's get it done. Because we all need to pitch in to keep this ship afloat. And I think we can do it.
Riverboat deck is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.